All right, well, one of the most talked about races in the Bay Area in the upcoming November election is for San Francisco mayor.
And it is really shaping up to be a heated contest with several people challenging Mayor London Breed. Of the four top contenders, three of them are current and former supervisors, and one is a political newcomer. All of them are poised to lead a city that is struggling with a number of different issues.
And today, Mayor London Breed is here to explain to voters why she deserves more time to address San Francisco's problems, arguing the city is coming back to life, and she is making progress, including on housing affordability.
Our work is removing roadblocks and making it easier to build more housing that's affordable so that everyone who wants to call San Francisco home can live here.
And joining us here in the studio this afternoon is San Francisco Mayor London Breed. Mayor, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
It's great to be here.
Obviously, you know, we see the ad there, and you really feel like you are making a lot of progress on the pressing issues facing the city of San Francisco. But as you know, there still is quite a bit of dissatisfaction among voters, especially on issues like homelessness, on crime. Why do you believe you deserve another 4 years leading the city of San Francisco?
Well, San Francisco is a complicated city. Built-up bureaucracy has made things very difficult to do. People have always pointed to the fact that, oh yes, during the pandemic, the mayor did a wonderful job. Well, during that time, we got rid of all the bureaucracy and had emergency power to do what was necessary to move our city forward and to save lives. And now that's what we're doing right now, getting rid of laws. We're not even creating new ones. We're just removing barriers. One of the reasons why I'm running for mayor is because some of the things that we have built up, the capacity, the changes in laws are finally starting to work. We've helped over 20,000 people exit homelessness. Crime is lower than it's been in a decade. We are one of the safest cities in the country with one of the lowest violent crime rates. And our homicide rate is, based on what is happening in our city, will be lower than it's been since 1960 because of all the incredible work we're doing. But we also understand that there is more work to be done. And regardless of statistics, if people don't feel safe, then numbers don't matter. And I want an opportunity to continue to build upon this success, especially around housing, because we now have changes to our state laws that are making the progress so much easier to get to yes, and we're seeing construction start to happen.
I want to stay on that topic of housing for a moment, because when you first came into office, Mayor, you had some big plans when it came to expensive housing and addressing it. You told voters then that you wanted to build 5,000 homes a year. That hasn't happened. So how do you defend your record on housing?
Well, part of it is building new homes, but also part of it is helping almost 10,000 people from becoming homeless in the first place. The other part of it is adding thousands of more units of permanent supportive housing, behavioral health beds, and other resources to help people struggling. We haven't met our goals of building housing, but here's the biggest difference. In the past, before some of our new state laws like SB 35 and SB 423, we took maybe 10 years to build one project. And more recently, we just broke ground on 146 units of affordable housing for homeless seniors, 1 year between the time we identified the property and broke ground. It is a game changer, and it's going to get us on our way to making change, even building more housing and converting more offices to housing in our downtown neighborhood.
All right, let's talk about the issue of homelessness here. The number of people living in tents or on the streets is down 13% since 2022. I know this is a figure that you have touted. That's the lowest it's been in 10 years. However, overall homelessness is up 7%, according to the point-in-time count from the past 2 years. And opponents of yours say you just haven't done enough to address homelessness. We had Mark Farrell on the show, sitting in that seat just yesterday, and we asked him about clearing homeless encampments from the streets, and your name was invoked. Let's take a listen.
It's part of a larger solution set that we need to implement in City Hall in San Francisco, where Mayor Breed has completely failed and not done that at all. Homelessness is now on the rise once again. Tenant encampments have grown in San Francisco once again.
All right, can you respond to what Mark Farrell is saying here? Have you taken the necessary steps to broadly address the underlying issues that lead to homelessness?
Well, just to be very clear, when Mark Farrell was temporary mayor, tenant encampments were more than double during his time in office than they are today. And more importantly, when you look at the point in time count, what has gone up has been sheltered homelessness, because I have increased our shelter capacity by more than 70%, more than any other mayor in the history of this city. Yet what has gone down is unsheltered homelessness, people who are living on the streets, because we are getting them off the streets. This does not include permanent supportive housing. Why we have been able to help over 20,000 people exit homelessness is because we're adding more housing options and focusing on making sure when we go out there to those encampments and we're trying to get you off the streets, the only option you have is to accept our offer of shelter. That has been what's changed, and that's why you see those numbers. They look like they're higher, but they're really higher in our sheltered homeless home numbers.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the shelter capacity in just a moment, but the homelessness budget, Mayor, is huge, more than $600 million. How are you tracking and monitoring the outcomes of that spending? Because a lot of voters have questions about how that money is actually spent and if it's money well spent.
And I think there's a lot of confusion about that, because a lot of this money is going to pay for people who are living in what I just talked about, in those shelters, in permanent supportive housing, in behavioral health beds. That's one part of it. And then when we're providing services for people, wraparound supportive services for people struggling with addiction or mental illness and things like that, that's the staff that we anticipate are available to help those people in need. How we track success is a department that focuses on making sure that each person, for example, there are people in our shelter beds, and the question is, how much is that costing us? And then how do we transition that person from shelter into permanent supportive housing? And what does success look like? And those are metrics that we have that exist. Everyone's trying to talk a lot about accountability with nonprofits. How is this money being spent? We keep this information available to the public on the controller's website. The City and County of San Francisco has auditing tools in order to address the kinds of things that people are talking about. But in this race, everyone seems bent on trying to say that nonprofits aren't doing this, nonprofits aren't doing that. And the reason why we are catching nonprofits doing the wrong thing is because we have accounting and auditing and things that are built in to ensure that we can catch things when they happen.
And quickly, before we go to break, Mayor, will you respond to just the criticism among some homeless advocates that you are putting too much of an emphasis on building more shelter capacity as opposed to focusing on more supportive housing?
And again, I have increased, so when you think about it, we have increased our shelter capacity by more than 70% because we do need shelter, but we've had a lot of congregate shelter, and during the pandemic we had to empty them out. So a lot of what we've had to do is change our shelter model and build it differently with navigation centers and tiny homes and other things that will make it a little bit easier and user-friendly to get people to commit to our shelter. So we had to make some adjustments and pivot, especially after the pandemic, but we are investing in permanent supportive housing. We are investing in purchasing buildings and buying hotels and building more affordable housing to get people off the streets. So I don't necessarily agree with that.
All right. Mayor Breed, we want to continue the conversation here coming up after the break, so please stay with us.
Yes, we're going to shift the focus and talk a little bit about crime, another big concern in San Francisco. So stay with us here. More of our conversation with Mayor London Breed coming up next.